Have you ever been through something that was so negative, it made your stomach hurt, and it was so upsetting that you really couldn't get over it? And I think if you think hard enough, you can think of several examples of this. There are some things in life that are big things that we need to reframe, right? Like if somebody dies and they were very special to you, they were close to you. You know, that's a negative. That's something that's never going to be positive. That's going to make you, especially early on, in the days, weeks, and months following that person's passing, you're going to be devastated. But eventually, your life has to continue on. You know, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to hurt and feel that pain. But eventually, we're going to have to come up with some coping mechanisms and some strategies to move on from that. And, you know, the big stuff, like a death or losing a job or a divorce, or even being in trouble with the law or something like that, a mistake we might have made, those are big things. But it's this everyday reframing that, believe it or not, starts to clutter our mind and clutter our hearts, that we've got to start there working on those small things. And that might be something like somebody saying something mean to you in the hallway about your hair or something you're wearing. That might have been a teacher being a little harsh, grading your paper, or your parents yelling at you to clean up your room, and there was really only like 3 things that were out. You know, because part of this kind of static is, you know, was it justified? A lot of times somebody will come at us with an uncomfortable conversation, or they'll criticize us, and it might be valid and it might not be. I mean, if it's not valid and it's completely like bunk, you know, it's not a real thing, then I would say that's the way I'm going to reframe that. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to take that information. I'm going to process it, analyze it, and then I'm going to decide this is not worth being upset over. That person is, you know, they're out of their mind. That's not true. However, if it's my parents nagging me about my homework and about my room and that I do my chores and that I came home late and I'm disrespectful with my tone and, you know, my grades are down, and if all of those things are true, it's really not fair for me to sort of blame them. And, you know, I have control over whether or not that's going to keep happening. All right, so the way I would reframe that is I got to step up my game and stop acting like this so that I get my parents off my back. You know, I can give you a really good example. When I first got my job and I was dating my wife at the time, we were engaged. We got married, we bought our house, and we moved in together. And my whole life, I wasn't used to doing a lot of common household chores. You know, I grew up in a household where my mom and my dad did a lot of the things. It's not to say that I didn't do anything. Believe me, I washed quite a few dishes, and I vacuumed, and I caught the lawn here and there. But generally speaking, I didn't do a lot of housework. Well, my wife was the oldest of 6 children in her family, and changed diapers and helped babysit and did all kinds of chores around her house, including having a part-time job. So when we moved in together, I didn't do a whole lot around our new house. My wife was doing a lot of things, and she was really frustrated with me. And she used to give me, like, you know, a good talking to about this. And I was just sick of it. I was like, man, what the heck? This kind of stinks. I don't know if this is a good deal I signed up for. Like, what's her problem? And I'll tell you what her problem was. The problem was me. You know, I should have been the one helping out. And it took me a while to sort of realize, like, all right, this is going to be a partnership. This isn't going to be she does this and I just kind of skate by and do nothing. So I slowly but surely had to adapt to this new climate, to this new environment. And I started to step up and do a lot more around the house. And guess what? My wife got a lot calmer. She wasn't nagging as much. And then eventually it turned into a situation where I'm doing more around here. And that's the way it should be. You do more for your partner and expect less. You know, it should still be fair, but believe me, she does a lot of things that I don't have to worry about, but in turn, I do a lot of things so that she doesn't have to worry about it, and we work as a team. That's the way I reframed it. I reframed that negative energy by deciding I needed to change me. Now, it's not always going to go that way. Sometimes, you know, you might have been criticized or insulted by somebody, And it's not about you having to change. The decision is that they were not a very nice person. And that's that. And you're gonna take people like that out of your life. Maybe the decision is that you're no longer friends with them. Or maybe the way you look at it differently is they were having a bad day and they made a mistake. And you're going to move on from it. You're going to forgive them. There's no right or wrong way to reframe, but we have to do it, because otherwise, if you don't, you're going to be stuck. If you can't reframe the little things that happen to us day by day by day, how in the world are you going to reframe something big that happens to you? Whether it's your pet dying, your grandma passing away, you losing a job, or getting a failing grade. For me, when I was a middle school kid, I played JFK baseball. I made the team in 8th grade, and I failed off. I got 2 Fs. And the way I reframed that was I was never going to fail off another team. And my grades didn't improve by much, but I made sure not to have 2 Fs. And I kept my GPA up above a C-. All right, I took action. So something that was bad that happened to me, I kept it in my heart, I kept it in my brain, and I said, never again. And maybe you have something like that in your life. Maybe it's you were in a relationship with a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever, and they treated you very poorly. They were abusive. And you got away from it. You pulled the plug on that relationship. And maybe your reframing is going to be this credo, this comment here: never again. I won't put myself in that situation. So what I want you to do here on page 26 in your manual is complete this exercise. Okay, very briefly, write down, when was a time you had something negative happen to you? In particular, we're talking about somebody mistreating you or criticizing you, but it could be something different. Maybe it was somebody passing away. Maybe it was a bad relationship like I just described. How could you look at it differently? How could you change your view on that so you can change your perspective and move on? All right, so complete page 26 in your manual and find a way that you can reframe, not just today, but every day in the rest of your life. Thanks for listening.